Hello, Cyber Warriors. So today we are going to have a Tech Talk series, and Mr. Ahmed, so we are going to get some insights on cyber security. And let me give a small introduction and background about Mr. Ahmed. So 2000, he worked as a part-time instructor, and later on he worked in a multiple designation of a technical specialist and then online adjuncts faculty, and then instructor and course developer, who he was a course developer as well, and then instructor Stanford continuing studies, and then academic advisor, then currently is a faculty at San Jose State University. And Mr. Ahmed has like around 20 years of 25 years of experience in cyber security. And welcome, Mr. Ahmed, for a Cyber Voyage channel. And we would like to give a small background on who is CyberVoyage and what we do. So 2021, we started a CyberVoyage channel to educate cyber education across all the countries, and then with the multiple people. So that's why we bring a tech talk series from expert talk series. We say SME talks, we say subject matter expert and technical talk series, and bring multiple speakers and get an insights from them. So that's what we would like to get insight from you, Mr. Ram, and welcome, and thanks for coming and joining with us, Mr. Ahmad. And the first question, we don't say this as a question, so we always say the inputs which I ask with you that we receive from cyber warriors. So we call them cyber warriors as our subscribers. We don't call them as a subscribers. We call them as a cyber warriors, because people who wants to get into cyber security, people who wants to get into a different startup company, who wants to create a new idea. So everyone, they are watching our channel. So the inputs or questions which I'm asking with you, the questions that I got from them. The first question I'll ask with everyone. It's been 25 years, Mr. Hamad. So you've just joined as an instructor, and it's been like 25 years. And when we looked at your LinkedIn, you've written a books of 9 books and 300 plus article contributions. We would like to know what is the secret sauce behind that, the energy and the article contribution, and how did you get into cybersecurity, Mr. Hamad?
Okay, thank you so much for having me today. And cybersecurity is a field that one of the few fields that keep growing, and the needs for cybersecurity expert is going up. It's never going down. In the United States, there is a need of about 200 to 300,000 specialists in cybersecurity. Around the world, close to 1 million you need it when it comes to cybersecurity experts. Because as we see more technology, like the artificial intelligence is really taking over so many of the tasks. The cyber criminals also use AI. So it's basically looking at it from that perspective, a tool that can be used for good. The hackers and the bad actors can use it also to hack much more professional to systems, or sometimes have issues like deep fake videos and so on. So how the whole thing started is, if if you look at the cybersecurity itself, it's a race. It's never an end. It's between the good guys and the bad guys. So when we look at it, is sometimes they win, sometimes the bad guys will win, and this is why it is non-stop dynamic field, and it's expanding in all directions. Nobody can say that my system is 100% secure. The minute they say that 100% secure, it is really the point where they lose security, because things can change, updates, systems is obsolete, hardware is down. Sometimes some of the insiders, like workers or employees, can sabotage the whole thing. Now, so I started, I started writing about cybersecurity when I was studying things like the cloud computing. And cloud computing is a big percentage of it is, okay, you have my information somewhere in a data center outside the city, outside the state, outside the country. How secure is that? So there is no way for you to sell that product unless you've been asked, how secure is my data? So that was the evolving point for the cybersecurity. Besides, I taught many classes in cybersecurity for the undergraduate and graduate. You have all kind of questions about how can you secure a system, How can you, get certificate for the security from Cisco and from Palo Alto Network, from, all the famous names in the field. Um, the And I have one of my students who's working at NASA, and he is a cyber security expert at NASA, and I bring him over to talk to my students from time to time. And it's really fascinating to see that even organization like NASA, they have a whole department that deals with the cybersecurity, because they have so many of their inventions and so many of their plans that they don't want anybody to access that. And moving to the from cloud computing, and I talk about big data, and then we start after that one, we start looking at things which is we have now. You're talking about Internet of Things, and Internet of Things is one of the biggest targets for cybersecurity, because 2025 we have about 75 billion devices connected to the internet, and how can you protect those devices? So many of the attacks is basically using the Internet of Thing devices, like thermostats, like baby, monitoring, like cars, like any device that has an IP address and connected to the Wi-Fi or connected to the internet is part of the Internet of Things, and that can be used as a staging, like as a staging device for the denial of service, the DDoS, for example, attacking different websites. So now after that, when we start talking about after the Internet of Things, here comes the generative AI. And generative AI created another difficult challenge for the cybersecurity expert, which is there are stories about people claiming to be a certain famous person because they created a deep fake video and they start collecting money from people. This South Korean lady, she lost 800 plus $1,000 because she thought she's talking to somebody famous, one of the actors. Another one who lost about $50,000 because she thought she's talking to Elon Musk. And the famous story about $20 million being transferred from a bank in Hong Kong because the officers thought that he's talking to his bosses, and all of them are actually a deep fake video. They using AI to train them to talk like the real bosses, and then that $20 million being transferred to an account which is outside the bank. This is a level of the civilian. Now think about it. When you talk about national security, when you talk about the military, if AI can enhance cybersecurity, they can hack into weapons, they can hack into tanks, they can hack in fighting robots, airplanes, drones, and then they can just change them so they can go and attack the country instead of attacking the enemies. So this is why cybersecurity is not going anywhere. It's actually going to expand and expand as we go.
Thanks, Mr. Ahmad. So you have articulated a point. So it is something, cybersecurity is not an education; it's a race. Sometimes good guys wins, and sometimes bad guys wins. And then you just mentioned about you've started with the hardware and software, and then the cloud computing, big data, so far. This is what you just started learning, and then you have given a good input as well. And your student there works in NASA as well. So it was nice to know, and of course, we are happy to hear that, and that we are going to get more insights from you, Ahmed. And following up question, because as I mentioned, you have written 9 books and you have like contribution of 300 plus contribution, but what focus initially has been inspired? Because when we see you have written books on artificial intelligence, internet of things, and blockchain and quantum computing, and what really inspired you to focus on particular topics? Because when we say AI, 20 years back AI was there, and that time there was no deep fake, but there was a like photo morphing. So AI
Right.
was there, but there is no the computing steps, and there is no large scale systems. But what inspired you to focus on the AI, IoT, and blockchain and quantum computing, Mr. Hamid?
Well, my research is focused on 4 areas, which is artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and cybersecurity and blockchain. Those are my major focus there. The introduction of the quantum computing, because quantum computing is a future technology that can change all of them, can change the artificial intelligence, the blockchain, the Internet of Things, and cybersecurity. But all my research with my students is actually they pick one of the 4 areas where they are interrelated, because cybersecurity is related to AI, related to Internet of Things, and and related to the rest of the field here. So you cannot have one without the other. I can have Internet of Things with AI. I can have plus cybersecurity, and I can secure it with the blockchain. So I can see them how they are really overlapping in this case. And my books actually evolve as we enter the field. And my first book was Secure and Smart Internet of Things Using Blockchain and Artificial Intelligence, and that was before the generative AI in 2022 came to the world, and we heard about the chat GPT. Now, after that one, I wrote a book about blockchain technology, which is the underlying technology for the cryptocurrency. And that was in 2020, and I taught that class at Stanford, at San Jose State. So that's basically was the textbook for the classes, a graduate and undergraduate. And then after that one, we start looking at the quantum computing, because quantum computing is basically a concept or a technology that can break everything, can break the codes and the encryption for the internet and for so many what we are using now. And then we start talking about generative AI, and I have my latest book in the one that is in the market, which is transformative AI. Transformative AI is talking about how AI is really changing the daily applications. I talk about it, about what is AI, different types of AI, generative AI, the how to get yourself understand what is AI, especially generative AI. I have a book. It's coming. This book is coming in June of this year, and the name of the book is AI in Action. And that one is talking about case studies for the AI. For example, how can you use AI in higher education? How can you use AI in national security? How can you use AI in health, in criminal justice? So I talk about the real application, because we can talk about artificial intelligence as a technology, but it's going to make no impact and no interest for people unless they see the applications. Okay, it's nice, it's good. I can just ask any questions and I have the right answers, but that's it. It's just a chat that I have with the system. But when you go and explain to them in a very specific steps and a very specific applications, you're in the field of sales. How can AI will help you? You're in the field of marketing, of administrations, of education, of medical, of national security, of criminal justice. How can it really apply to your field? It's going to make sense to them. Okay, now I understand it's more than just a piece of code that will just make it much easier for you to find the answer than going and Googling the answers and then sitting for about 20 minutes, just bringing all those answers together and forming them in a way where it makes sense to me. And that's why we are in in 2024, we have seen the turn of the attention of artificial intelligence into the applications. People are going to say, okay, how can I use it? Now in 2025, now they're looking at the outcomes. Okay, so we have it. We fired 25% of the people in the company. We replaced them with chatbot. We replaced them with a system with AI that can generate all the information. I need some kind of result to see if I'm doing better or I'm not, or what I have done is wrong here. And I still need to have those people to cover it. So beside that, when you talk about AI and cybersecurity, I was talking to one of the reporters of an international newspaper, and he asked me a very interesting question. He said, when you get into a country, you have the customs that will check what you have in your bags, and they will check. Is there any way the AI can find out about the fake products, like for example, bags, anything that people will have, pirated products. Somebody will buy it somewhere where it is a fake Louis Vuitton, for example, or a fake Dior. Is any way, instead of relying on the experience of the person, which is basically the officer, to go, oh, this is fake, this is not fake. And the answer is yes. I mean, there are programs that can just scan a look at the product and say, this is a fake product. This is not a real product. And they can confiscate that one and say, okay, your product is fake. You cannot get to the country because You cannot fool people this way. So you see how far can the AI use in helping in securing something like this. And that's not the only part of the program. The program also monitor the behavior of the person, looking at the eyes, looking at the movement, looking at the face. And then they couple that with, say, okay, this person has something. You have to, it's like replacing this 20 years experience officer who we don't have that many of them, with a program that can look at you and ask you a question and see your reactions, and then look at your bag and say, okay, I can connect the dot here. So that's an example. How can you use it in security?
Thanks, Mr. Ahmed. So, you're given one statement is it is interrelated. So, even though AI, IoT, blockchain, or quantum computing, so it's all interrelated. So, we don't just only read AI stuffs. We need IoT, we need blockchain and quantum computing as well. And then one more example also you mentioned, we do have AI, but where we can utilize it. So even the current when we use LinkedIn. So previously 5 years back, we need to enter our job descriptions if you are applying for like any kind of the position which we worked. But nowadays AI can automatically rephrase the sentence where which we can utilize AI feature in job description as well. At the same
Correct.
time, we do use Google Meet now, and we do use Teams. And when we are discussing on 1 hour meeting, and we can AI can automatically transcript give you the transcription like what are all the key things which we have discussed the entire 1 hour. And the same way, you are also given an example something like an artificial intelligence which can utilize cyber security as well. We have a company, and then you are also mentioned it can monitor the human eyeball tracking and sentiment analysis, like how good you are speaking and what is about your the anger mood. It can check the mood swings as well, maybe the way of speaking, the way of approach, which the
Right.
AI can utilize in all the sectors as well. And then also you mentioned in cyber security AI which we can bring, like let's say discovering an asset we can bring it in, and doing a threat intelligence asset we can bring it in, we can do a severity checks we can bring it in. So likewise you have just given an inputs for that, Mr. Ahmed, and thanks for your insight, Mr. Ahmed. And now the other question is you mentioned about secure and smart of internet things, because you have written a book of secure and smart of internet things was recognized as one of the best book in technology. Now, how do you see IoT security evolving in the face of AI driven threats? Because now we have Alexa, now we have all the internet connected devices, now routers are internet connected devices, now AC, if you are purchasing an AC it has a smart features. Hitachi, LG, Daikin, any AC companies, they are implementing a new features. If you look at that, they say this will automatically based on your room temperature, based on your functional, let's say you are staying in your room, like three persons are staying in your room. Now if fourth person entering in your room, automatically AI features will enable you that automatically the AC will turn on based on your the person who is living in your room. The same way, how do you see, even because when AI features or when any kind of AI driven threats which is booming, of course AC which it can be hackable, smart TVs it can be hackable, and IoT devices it can be hackable. And how do you see IoT security evolving in the face of AI driven? Because nowadays 99.9% IoT device, every printers, monitors, whatever it is, it comes with the IoT features. Now, how do you see these driven AI driven threats can utilize all these kind of IoT activities and IoT security, Mr. Ahmed?
It's really making it more challenging because whenever you talk about something called smart, you are dealing with three things. The first one is the definition of smart itself. When I tell my students smart TV, smart, car, smart, smart air conditioning, smart refrigerator. There are three things associated with the word smart, which is, first of all, the IP. You're connected to the internet. You have to have the Wi-Fi connectivity. Second is there is an operating system, and usually it's an Android. That's basically what they have. And the third one is an algorithm, which is the AI that will be functioning on the top of the operating system to send information back to the company at the same time dealing with situation like the one you mentioned, which is somebody entering the room, so the air conditioning will be, will go up high, colder, knowing that there are two people in the same room or more. That's going to open something called access point for the hackers. Now it is on the companies, whether it is Hitachi, LG, or it is American companies, to make sure that their devices is really protected. One of the most common mistake that we have seen with household devices, like thermostat, like refrigerators, or even microwave that's connected to the internet, is that they keep the default password. They don't change it. The one that comes from the factory, because the problem here is there is no screen for you to change it. You have to download the app, and then through the app you can update your password. And how many people actually technically savvy can do something like that? So that's one thing, one big hole here, because the default password is available online. This is the factory's habit, because this is just temporary password. You have to have it to get into the system. There was actually a big, and that was in 2016. There was a big hack, and that's actually proved this point. And that one happened in, I think I remember the date, which is October 26th. It was Friday. I was in a conference, and suddenly you have a website like Twitter at that time, and New York Times, Netflix, CNN down, and they found out that there is a group called Mariah. Mariah is a Japanese name for the future. They wrote a program, and this program is about 600 lines of a C program language, and they posted it on GitHub. This is how they challenge the world. And that program scanned the internet for any devices connected to the internet still with the default password, and then download a small malware. And then at a certain time, which was Friday, all of them start sending requests to those big names. So basically it's a denial of service, distributed denial of service, and they brought down all those websites. They managed to get about 500,000 of devices to send exactly the same request to the same website. And that the website has a limited capacity to accept 500,000 requests at the same time. So they brought down all those websites. All of them are down. So that's it. And they found, when the FBI investigated this one, they couldn't find the people who did it, but they explained what happened. All those devices has one thing common among them, which is they didn't change the default password.
Thanks, Mr. Ahmed. So you've given four points. One thing is IP. So when it comes to the IoT devices, of course, IP and the operating system and the algorithm and then access point. So, and the final point is you have also explained about there was a scenario, people they don't change the default usernames and password, and you have given the valid point as well. Of course, now we are moving towards the IoT smart features. So
Mhm.
we have a smart gadgets, but how many of them are technical savvy to make sure to log in with the username and password to change their password? So in world, so like 20% are technical, 80% is non-technical person. So they don't know they can use. They are using an AC, they are using a smart TV, but they don't know whether the device has been connected to the network. So they don't not even aware of it. So in certain scenarios, of course, it can be hackable, and we need to bring a more mechanisms to that as well, Ahmed. So it was a great insight, Mr. Ahmed. Now, since you worked as a professor and you are an adjunct faculty, we would like to know how to ensure cybersecurity courses are relevant with the current emerging trends. Because when we are working as a, now we are working in an organization, so that we have an industry knowledge, so that we get to know about the industry knowledge based on the experience. But when we are pursuing our college masters or any kind of juniors or any BSc BCom or any kind of college studies, how to make sure or how to ensure our cyber security courses are stay relevant to the current trends.
Right.
Because when zero day threats comes, or any kind of new emerging threat attacks, ransomware, or any kind of malware kind of attacks, or default password attacks, or any configuration issues, or anything whatever it comes in, how to make sure, do we need to change the course material? Because if we see the course materials, it will take like 10 years back the course materials has been created. But how to make sure, or how to ensure our course material to be updated, what kind of advice which you can give, which the curriculum can be updated, and how many days or how many years we need to make sure and keep on look at the curriculum to make sure we are at the current and security or current trend, Mr. Ahmed.
Well, that's a very good question. The answer to this is multiple fold. Number one is The course you have to take, if it's a foundational, it's just an introduction, then the concepts are the same, no changes in that, so you have to introduce the network, you have to introduce the router, you have to introduce the security, you have to introduce the terminology. Now when you go into a higher level, then there is no textbook for that. Basically, it's basically what you're doing is you have labs. You have the professor himself or herself will give recent information, articles. They will explain certain incidents, and there are so many websites that the student can use to practice in this. One of them is Try Hack Me, and I don't know if you guys know about that, but there is a website called Try Hack Me. That one is a very good website for people who would like to enter the cybersecurity world, because there's so many exercises and it's free. You can go there and you can practice in it, and it's going to elevate you as you go up in the level. Um, the other thing is for the cybersecurity itself. Once you have the foundation, the rest of it is, certifications you have to get in the cybersecurity. There's so many of the different companies and different organizations that have a very strong certifications. And if I join, for example, a company, they're going to look at my degree back in computer science or software, and then I have a certification in cybersecurity. That's going to give me more significance. Why? Because certification means hands-on. You went through the process, you did so many labs, so you already know what's going on. At the top of that, if you want to go to the other field, which is start doing some research about cybersecurity, now you're talking about programming. How can you do certain algorithms that will scan, find, isolate, detect, and control the virus, or control the malware? And now we are talking about more intense research and intense practices you have. So the student has to decide, say, I want to be practical by just going to the field and dealing with the cybersecurity incidents hands-on, or I want to go with the research. And I go to the research, that's a completely different area. But I believe that any book in cybersecurity is obsolete the minute they publish it. It's just the foundation is there, and now we have a new information, and then it's going to be, you look at it and say, okay, how many books do we have in cybersecurity? Why? Because the minute you publish it, there are new attacks, there are new techniques used, and now with the generative AI, there's a little, a lot of challenging elements here in how to deal with generative AI, because generative AI keep evolving, and when it's evolve and becoming better, the books cannot catch up with this. This is why start with the foundation, with the textbook, which is just giving the student a good foundation. And then after that one, you have to have it from the industry. You have to have it from the lab. You have to have it from the notes. You have to have it from the practices they're going to do, so they can be ready for the market.
Thanks, Mr. Ahmad. So you were given like 5 points. One thing is foundation and concept. So that is very much important. So if someone has to learn anything in cybersecurity. Second thing is you have given a platform name is Try Hack Me, Hack the Box, Vulnerable, and there is anyway.ran, and you have given a couple of website as well. And third one is a certification. Depends on your needs, depends on your domain. Please go ahead with the certifications and hands-on steps. So cybersecurity is something like a hands-on we need to do to make sure how these things works and how tool and technology works. And the final one is the programming. So if some malware comes in, how they have written and what kind of malware it is. So these kind of skills and these kind of topics which we need to be in the course. And also you have mentioned the very good statement is, if someone publishing a book, of course that time itself it is obsolete, it is outdated, because new attacks comes in. And I have written a book of ethical hackers entry, Mr. Ahmad. So I started writing last year, but when I just started publishing it, and there are many attacks, new scenarios comes in, and just correlate, I can easily correlate with that, Mr. Ahmad. And thanks for your insight, Mr. Ahmad. And now you have mentioned about the knowledge, skills, and foundation concept. And what do you prefer? What do you believe? What skills do you believe if someone gets into an industry? Because curriculum is totally different. We do morning, we go and we do we'll do a foundation concept. But when it comes to an industry, that is totally different. But what advice you can give to all the students? What skills do you believe a person should master rather than technical and non-technical skills. Because technical skills, yes, we do have a books, and we do have all the tools, technologies, and we do have an environment. As you also mentioned, there is an environment where you can learn a technical skills, and where there are few skills that comes under soft skills, where if you are communicating with other person, of course, yes, you can learn from it. But what skills do you believe as a cyber security person must have, that is surely into a different skill, that no one, they don't prefer it, but every cyber security students, every cyber security persons, if they want to pursue in a cyber security domain for a long time, this skills is needed, and this skill is really important. Which skills do you believe, Mr. Ahmed?
Uh, here's actually a few things here. Number one is, do not go to the field unless you like it and you want to be in that field. Don't go there because you want to make money and that's your motivation. Because going to the cybersecurity field is like working with the police and you are the investigator, you are a detective. And you can see the difference between a smart detective and an average detective. Um, the whole story here is about it is you go there and do not believe for a minute that everything you're going to be going through the foundation and the lab and the certification going to prepare you. There is a very important element, which is you. When you look at an incident, you can backtrack the incident, like an investigator or detective goes to the crime scene and backtrack the action of the criminals by saying, I believe that this is what happened. um, Many incidents like the ransomware, for example, ransomware attack is very common here in the United States. Why? Because they want money. They give them Bitcoin and they give them the decryption key and they open their computers. Now we have to understand that what exactly happened. You deal with the ransomware, you get back the system online. But one of the first principles that I teach in my classes is the weakest link in any computer system is the human. So that should be one thing that everybody keep in mind. And regardless if you have all these kind of state of the art devices and software, all what you need is just one of the staff to click on the wrong link and download the malware, and the system is now under siege. You have ransomware attack there. So that is one important thing, which is you're going to go back and try to find the root cause of what happened with the problem. Because if you just treating this one and getting system back online, it could happen again. You have to make sure that, should I train them more? Should I give them less privileges to get in the system? Another principle I tell my student about it is think before you click. That will be another concept that is very important to keep in mind, which is do not click on that link if you don't trust it. If it's coming from, it's a phishing email. That's basically the source for the ransomware. If it's coming from your friend or your boss and you're not used to this kind of communication with them, just call them or send them an email. Did you send me an email about that? And trust your judgment about it. So the skill here is how smart you are about dealing with the attacks. You will have the foundation, you will have the training, you will have the labs, you will have the skills, but nothing can ever override or be more important than your judgment about it. This is not this attack happened because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's deal with it, and then we're gonna go and look at how can we improve the security by having more training, for example, by limiting access, by making sure that we have something like a DMZ, the demilitarized zone, which is basically a sandbox where the emails will come, we'll check it, and then get into the system, just to make sure that it's protected. Uh, a third principle which is I tell my student the first day of the class about it is cybersecurity is an investment. It's not an expense. So if we can believe in that concept, and the CEO of the company and the owners of the companies look at it as an investment, it's similar, for example, to your HR department. They're not making money, but they are protecting you from somebody suing you by following the rules of the country. The same thing goes with the cybersecurity. It's not an expense. It's basically an investment. You do it because the worst thing you can do is, we're going to increase the investment for cybersecurity after fact. You don't buy the insurance after the accident. You buy it before the accident. And that's what happened with the cybersecurity. Many of the incidents we have seen, and I'm talking about here in the United States, is the cybersecurity budget is sometimes it's not even on the list of the top 10. Oh, okay, the system is working, everything is, because they don't understand. They don't understand how that goes. The minute they've been hit with an attack or a hack or a leak or a breach or a ransomware, oh, why didn't you guys tell us about it? We should upgrade. I told you about it multiple times, but they don't want to spend the money. Now they're going to spend more money to recover and more money to pay those hackers so they can give them access to their data. So those are the three principles. The weakest link is the human. Think before you click. And cybersecurity is an investment. It's not an expense for the companies.
Thanks, Mr. Hammett. So, 3 points you clearly mentioned. First thing is, if you want to make a money, don't go to cybersecurity,
Yeah.
because don't go because I recently faced this scenario. People will reach out to us and say, "Hey, brother, I want to go into cybersecurity, and what's your aim?" If we ask this question, they say, "I did some Google research and I've seen there is lots of money which we can make from cybersecurity domain." And if you have such kind of mindset, don't go and waste your time. Second thing is the important element which you mentioned is you. How you think for an act for a problem. Because cybersecurity is something like every day you get a problem and ransomware problem or any kind of problem, and how do you manage and how do you think about for the particular problem and how do you give a solutions. And to make sure every that's what you mentioned, the most of the attackers and most of the think before you click. Human is the vulnerable one where all the attacks human are the one where they'll be, even though if you say don't click on the link they'll click. So and second point is the important element is you and how you think, how you are going to make sure which you're learning something from the cybersecurity area and what you learn from that and how you are thinking out of box. And that is the second point. And you need to think out of box, not with the regular activity, not with the regular aspect. Always think in a multiple aspect. If there is a problem, there will be a 10 to 20 solutions. Don't stick with one solutions and always be a person with multiple solution. That is the second point which you mentioned. And third thing is cybersecurity is an investment, not an expense. And because even that is also a given example is most of the most of the companies that doesn't have any cybersecurity policies at all. They don't do an investment for their tools and technologies. And it was a great insight, Mr. Ahmed. Now you have given a statement. We need to have an hands-on, we need to have a technology, but now industry experience is totally different. When it comes to an industry, so it is totally different. But in a college we don't get such kind of activity, even though if you are good at foundation, even though if you are good at principles. But do you believe if you are preparing a curriculum, if you are creating a curriculum to a college, how do you manage industry experience in a college curriculum? And let's say if there is a tool called recorded future, and I don't know what is recorded future. If I'm studying as a student, I just know recorded future is a tool based on Google research. But when I get an industry, then only I'll come to know I can able to download, I can able to work on these particular tools and technologies. And here itself, when we are looking for a job position, cyber security, as a fresher, it is very much tough to get a position to place in a company as a fresher. Now if we are creating a curriculum, do you bring industry standards in a curriculum so that when the person is trying to become a cybersecurity professional, then he can learn in a curriculum itself what is industry standards, what is industry tools and technologies, how this can be utilized in an environment, so that when he joined as a fresher, he can cope up very easily. But when I don't know what is industry standards, when the person don't know what is industry tools and technology they use, it will take time. One like more than 6 to 7 months it will take, like sometimes 1 year. So how do you make sure to bring all the industry standards in the curriculum to make sure we can equip our students in the college itself? So which advice you can give, Mr. Hamid?
Okay, good universities and colleges, they have something called industry advisors board, which is basically they reach out to the companies and they ask, for example, CEOs or CSO and the chief security to to come and meet with others. It's usually like 6 or 7 from different fields, And then they show them the curriculum. They say, for cybersecurity, this is what we teach. For AI, this is what we teach, and we get their feedback. And I've seen it in all the colleges, universities I taught there. We invite them, and we show it to them, and they will tell us, "Oh, that's obsolete. This is not working. We don't use this anymore." So that will be a good insight. We have it now. What I do specifically in my classes is I invite every semester. I have, regardless of how many classes I'm teaching, each class will have something from the industry expert. So, and the industry expert is somebody I know, used to be my students, or a friend, or somebody I have connection with, or LinkedIn, and I invite them to talk for an hour to my student. I mean, end of this month, uh, I have somebody who's coming from Stanford University going to talk to my student at the university, and he's an IT/cybersecurity expert at Stanford University. So that's going to be a really good insight, because they're going to see what the top schools are really teaching, and how somebody who is keeping Stanford safe is, what kind of actions he going to do. And this one is invited engineers from Google who created the Pixel, the phone operating system, and they tell them how Android is really, morph into the Pixel operating system, and they tell them about challenges. So whatever is the topic of the class itself, find an expert, and invite them and let them talk to the student. You will be surprised about how much the student will appreciate it. You'll be surprised about what kind of questions they're gonna ask. So that's the second part. The third part is the internship, which is you have to have good relationship with companies around you, where your student can go and have their summer, internship in that company. And of course, the internship has its rule. You have to write a report. Your boss have to write, evaluation of you, and then this will take this as okay. And usually, 90% of the time, the company will hire the student. Why? Because they've seen the student for 3 months, and he or she is doing great. So it's a benefit both level here. The policy of the university, at least the one I'm teaching at, is we have to upgrade, we have to update our curriculums every certain number of years, regardless of what's going on. So you cannot just use the same textbook. You have to make sure an updated syllabus and updated information about it. And that is a requirement, for accreditation, requirement for keeping the student coming to the university. So I don't want to see a book from 1995. I want to see a book which is 2020, 2022, 2023 for the foundation. And then the labs has to be updated too with all the informations. So it's a continuous process. I mean, there's no way for somebody to say, just come to me and I'm going to make you the best cybersecurity expert. This is relationship with the industry, making sure that your classes are more exciting because you're bringing people from the industry. At the same time, your information is up to date. So if there is, and I do that all the time, if there is a cyber attack somewhere, then in the computer networking class, I'll bring it on the screen and I tell the student, let's talk about it. Let's see how that happened, and let's see what steps that can be taken to prevent it in the future.
Thanks, Mr. Ahmad. So you have given 3 points. One thing is industry advisor, because you showed the curriculum, so that if they say if it is outdated or obsolete, so that you get some points from them. That is an excellent point. And second thing is, if there is any topic, if it is an operating system or any kind of cyber expert, or bring an SME person from an industry, and then
Right.
have a like 1 hour or half an hour call and have a word, speak to students itself, so that they can get some information from the SME itself. Third thing is an internship. So internship also you just mentioned. It was a great insight, Mr. Ahmed. Now it's been like 45 minutes discussion we had. The final question, we will take it forward. How do you see cybersecurity in after 5 to 10 years, Ahmed? So if a person who wants to get into cybersecurity, like AI, automation, blockchain, quantum computing, IoT, and there are many domains are going to come in. It's just like a wave. Now, how do you see cybersecurity in next 5 years or 10 years? And what about the job opportunities, Mr. Ahmed?
Well, the jobs is going to go up, because we are really having more access points with the Internet of Things. Number two is, if you really want to be an expert in cybersecurity, follow the trends. AI is a must for you to learn the relationship between AI and cybersecurity. There is no question about it, because now there is a lot of automated tools used by the companies to protect their systems, and big companies in the cybersecurity field, they're automating everything using AI. So knowing AI is a must for you, regardless of what is your field, whether it's cybersecurity, software. My advice to my student: in the past, everybody is pushing everybody. Okay, you have to learn how to program. You have to learn how to program, which is good. We still learn how to program. Now you have to learn how to use the AI tools, whether using it as getting answer, checking the codes, or how to integrate it through the API into your app, or how to connect it through the app. Now, 5 years from now, the quantum computing going to start showing some lives. So know something about quantum computing. Know something about how quantum computing can break the code. And there is always this post-quantum, encryption techniques. Try to learn more about them, because you'll be ahead of the game by saying somehow somebody have a quantum computer, and they are, breaking the code of the internet, and they can see all the transactions. I would like to know what is post quantum encryption here, so I understand this, so I have a knowledge about that. I always ask my student, if there is a conference, a tech conference in the city, go to that conference. If there, make sure that you have update information from the magazines, from the meetings, from the conferences, to make sure that you're up to date. Your information, your knowledge is up to date if you are really active. But if you think that you can just sit, in that cubicle and just do your work, it's a matter of few years, and you're going to be left behind, and your skills will be outdated. The last thing, I tell my student, I want to hear from you, is somebody saying, some a new tech term, and you have no idea what is that. That is really putting you in a bad situation. Be very careful about, anytime you hear another any new trend or a new term in the industry, go and Google it, or ask ChatGPT about it. Let's make sure that you understand what does that stands for, especially in your field, because it's nothing worse, for anybody to be, oh, I never heard about this, or you still, behind for 3 or 4 years, because why? Because you are comfortable doing the same thing again and again.
Sure, Mr. Hamad. So it's been like 45 minutes discussion, Hamad. So we have got lots of insights from you, starting from your introduction and how you got into cybersecurity, and then you just given a term of cybersecurity's race, where sometime good guy wins, sometime bad guy wins. So you just started with those introduction, and then you just given information. Then later on, you just told about cybersecurity, AI, quantum computing, and everything is an interrelated one. And then a few case studies also you've just explained, and about IoT threats. You have given how IoT threats can impact to our AI-driven threats. And then you just given about the foundation, and you have given some try hack me platform, and then the certification, hands-ons are required. All these things has been given. And then if someone wants to get into cybersecurity, has given a point of if you want to earn money, don't go with the cybersecurity, because you need to think out of box each and every day. You need to keep on learning something. And if you're writing a book, and tomorrow if you're publishing it, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, it will be outdated. You have given lots of points like that. Then for a college curriculum, you just brought industry advisor, and then given a lots of insights on how the curriculum looks like, and how the curriculum can be updated, and how these internship opportunities can help students to get into a cybersecurity domain as well. And finally, you have mentioned about if you want to get into a cybersecurity, and you should be updated with the trend. Go to conference, go to learn about the technical stuff through Google search, and you need to be very unique, because every person's they'll be looking at Google research, they'll be doing all the surfing activities. But if you want to become a cybersecurity professional, you wanted to be in a unique way, and you wanted to an out of you just always learn out of box thinking. I've got all this information, and we have got most of the information from you, Ahmed. It was a great insight, Ahmed. And thank you so much for your insights, Ahmed. So that our cyber warriors is going to get learn from you, and they'll be looking at these videos, and then few persons will be following up, and few persons will be implementing, and few persons will be learning. So it is all something like each and every day we are keep on learning, Mr. Ahmed. And thank you so much for your time and insights, Mr. Ahmed.
Okay,
Mm.
you're welcome anytime. Thank you.